the fights you've had, in awe of the fact that you do what you do. It's mind-blowing to me.
Thank you, man. Yeah. I mean, it's not that hard to get your beat, but it was a great experience. Like, I learned a lot in there. I can't really talk.
When this fight was first announced, you had said something to the effect of this would end Jake Paul's career. After what you saw tonight, do you think that Jake should continue to box, or what do you think the future holds for him?
Yeah, no, I really take my hat off to. I mean, we have to see if it is a broken jaw. Those injuries are very difficult to come back from. But as AJ said, look, that last shot would have knocked out.
All right, here's the situation that has the entire combat sports world buzzing right now. Jake Paul, the 28-year-old social media superstar turned professional boxer, has reportedly announced his retirement from boxing following what can only be described as a devastating, career-altering sixth-round knockout loss to former heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua in Miami. This wasn't an ordinary knockout. This was brutal. Paul didn't just lose the fight. He left the ring with a double broken jaw that required immediate surgery. Just moments earlier, he had entered the bout as a massive crossover star, building momentum and pushing hard to prove he was a legitimate force in professional boxing, rather than just a YouTube personality stepping into the ring. But Joshua's crushing right hand ended the contest in spectacular fashion, instantly raising serious questions about whether Jake Paul's boxing career is truly over. What makes this even more shocking is that Paul had reportedly won 2 rounds on one judge's scorecard before everything fell apart, showing he was competitive, until one devastating punch changed everything.
And face every single day while I could be playing soccer in Saudi. I'm friends with the Saudis slash football.
Back in the day?
I was on the A team in 7th grade. I have a really good kick. I can run fast, and I'll knock out everyone that.
Hold on, because this is where things get even more intense, and honestly pretty concerning from a health standpoint. A clip has been circulating in which someone can be heard mentioning a titanium rod in a hand, adding even more chaos to an already shocking situation. What we do know is this. According to multiple sources close to Jake Paul, he is reportedly exhausted and mentally drained after absorbing the kind of punishment that comes with fighting at this level, and he is seriously considering walking away from boxing altogether. That decision appears to have solidified after the brutal knockout we discussed earlier. A fight that wasn't just a loss, but a beating. Paul was knocked down multiple times, and each time he got back to his feet, the physical toll was obvious. The final knockout blow left him with a double broken jaw requiring immediate surgery, only intensifying speculation about whether he will ever return to a professional ring. Taking that level of punishment from one of boxing's most powerful and accomplished heavyweights, Anthony Joshua, a fighter who has spent years at the top of the sport, has reportedly forced Paul to rethink whether this path is worth continuing. And to make matters even more dramatic, a clip has surfaced where someone can be heard saying, "I am retiring from boxing," further fueling the fire of speculation surrounding his future.
That guy did great for someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade. He has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
I don't even remember what happened in the Tommy
He
Fury
lost
fight.
a close decision, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight, though. He's a good boxer. If he wasn't a YouTuber, people would be way more impressed with him.
Yeah.
The problem is he was like a famous kid, and then no one took him seriously.
Yeah.
But
Oh, and then he started too with like more spectacle-ish fights. People were like, "Oh, this is you." He fought, Nate Robinson, like a basketball player.
But the thing is, he knocked Nate Robinson
knocked him
dead,
the fuck out,
and
yeah.
it's the way he did it that I was trying to tell people. I'm like,
Now, as wild as it might sound, let's focus on what promoters and insiders are saying, because their reactions show just how serious the situation really is. Eddie Hearn, who was involved on the promotional side of this fight and has never been afraid to speak his mind, stood by his pre-fight warning that this bout could legitimately end Jake Paul's boxing career. But after seeing the fight play out, his tone shifted to something far more serious and reflective. Looking back at that prediction, Hearn said the brutal outcome sadly proved his point, not in a moment of satisfaction, but out of genuine concern. He explained that injuries like a double broken jaw requiring surgery with plates and screws aren't just painful in the short term. They are mentally and physically devastating, especially for a fighter still developing and trying to establish himself at the elite level. Hearn noted that recovery isn't just about the bone healing. It's the extended time away from sparring that causes timing to fade, reflexes to slow, and ring rhythm to disappear. On top of that comes the psychological battle, the fear of reinjury that creeps in every time a fighter takes a shot to the face, potentially altering their willingness to engage and changing the course of their career forever. While Hearn did credit Jake Paul's toughness and his willingness to step up against serious opposition, something many critics doubted, he emphasized that boxing is a ruthless sport that doesn't care about fame or money, and moments like this, when a fighter suffers a career-defining injury, often force them to seriously reconsider whether the long-term health risks are truly worth continuing.
Okay. My rebuttal to that was, I'll tell you what, you can test me randomly for the next 5 years if I can test you randomly for performance-enhancing the next 2 years, and I never got a response on that.
This is why Jake Paul is on PEDs. Within this past year, Jake Paul has literally hit a second puberty and aged like 10 years. Furthermore, he has acne and his hairline is receding like crazy. And people like Jake Paul are going to the best skin doctors in the world and probably are taking hair loss products that aren't even approved for the rest of us. Now, I'm not saying that Jake Paul necessarily took a steroid to make him look bigger, but he's definitely taking something that allows him to recover faster. That way he's able to train more.
Joe Rogan, a longtime combat sports commentator who has seen nearly everything a fighter can endure, delivered one of the most serious and cautionary reactions following Jake Paul being knocked out cold by Anthony Joshua and suffering a double broken jaw. Speaking on his podcast with his trademark mix of blunt honesty and genuine concern, Rogan urged Paul to seriously reconsider continuing his boxing career at this level, stressing that when it comes to head trauma, warnings like this should not be ignored. He emphasized that the punishment Paul absorbed, especially the thunderous headshots from a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua, who has competed at the world championship level for years, carries dangers that go far beyond visible injuries such as a broken jaw. According to Rogan, there is a neurological and physical toll that accumulates over time, one that simply isn't worth it for someone who has other opportunities outside the ring. He pointed to the long-term struggles many fighters face after retirement, including memory loss, mood disorders, and conditions like chronic traumatic encephalopathy, as science continues to uncover the lasting effects of brain trauma. Rogan described the knockout punch Paul took as having the force of 10 punches concentrated into one, a frightening reality when considering the brain slamming inside the skull, especially at heavyweight where power is on a completely different level. His message wasn't just about one fight or one injury, but a broader warning that repeatedly absorbing punishment from elite heavyweights can cause permanent damage to cognitive function and quality of life, and that Jake Paul should seriously weigh whether continuing down this path is truly worth the risk when so many other avenues for success remain open to him.
I don't say that only because I'm fight here in a company, but it's because Jake, the people need to respect Jake, you know? I mean, every single fight go inside the ring, everybody knew.
Now here's a claim that sounds completely wild and has people questioning whether it's serious or just Jake Paul being provocative, as he's often been throughout his career. According to online chatter and second-hand reports, Paul has suggested he may consider going on a steroid cycle in order to silence long-standing accusations that he has already used performance-enhancing drugs during his boxing career. The idea, as it's being described, is that by showing a visible contrast between his natural physique and an enhanced one, he could somehow prove that his past performances and physical transformation were achieved without chemical assistance. Critics have blasted the claim as reckless and inflammatory, warning that even suggesting such a move could create serious problems with boxing commissions and potentially lead to legal consequences. Supporters, however, believe Paul is simply pushing back in his usual confrontational style against years of speculation and direct accusations surrounding his body transformation and early knockout power. Given boxing's strict anti-doping rules and the severe penalties tied to PED use, including suspensions, fines, and overturned results, many observers remain skeptical that Paul would ever follow through on such a claim. Others caution against taking it literally at all, suggesting it may simply be another attempt to stir controversy. Until Paul addresses the issue directly and clarifies what he truly meant, the statement remains unverified and adds yet another layer of chaos to an already turbulent moment in his boxing career.
Don't ever give a monkeys about what anyone says, because they sit at home, they're full of negativity. It's like the people that are negative towards someone like Jake Paul. Look at what he's done with his life. Do you know what I mean? So yes, it took AJ a couple of rounds to get hold of him, and then he knocked him spark out and broke his jaw. It was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't, I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line, and, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual
Is that how
work.
you see it in the end?
Yeah, I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp, and now he's done 6 rounds. He's got something to go back on.
Let's break down exactly what happened inside the ring, because the details are genuinely shocking when laid out clearly. During their heavyweight fight in Miami, Anthony Joshua brutally broke Jake Paul's jaw with one decisive moment that changed everything. In the 6th round, Joshua landed his devastating right hand, the same punch that has ended countless fights throughout his championship career. With pinpoint precision and elite heavyweight power, the shot sent Paul crashing to the canvas and directly led to the knockout finish, but the damage went far beyond the knockdown itself. The impact fractured Paul's jaw in 2 separate places, resulting in a severe double break that was immediately obvious after the fight, as his face showed clear swelling and misalignment. Paul later confirmed the injury himself by posting images on social media that revealed the extent of the damage. Following the bout, he was rushed to a Miami hospital where surgeons performed extensive surgery to repair the fractures, installing 2 titanium plates, one on each side of his jaw, to stabilize the bones during recovery. To underline just how serious the injury was, doctors were forced to remove multiple teeth as part of the procedure, all caused by that single punch. Paul later shared an update from his hospital bed, stating the surgery went smoothly but confirming he would be restricted to a liquid-only diet for at least a week, possibly longer, as he begins recovering from having his jaw literally reconstructed with metal plates. Now, with all the speculation and conspiracy theories that always seem to follow Jake Paul's boxing matches, it's time to address the elephant in the room. The brutal 6th-round knockout of Jake Paul by Anthony Joshua made it absolutely clear that this fight was real and not fixed or scripted in any way. Despite online skepticism leading up to the bout, promoter Eddie Hearn, someone with decades of experience in the sport, forcefully dismissed any claims that the fight was staged or predetermined. In multiple post-fight interviews, Hearn stressed that this was a fully sanctioned professional contest, regulated by official boxing authorities and tied to global betting markets, making any kind of scripted outcome not just unethical but outright illegal and practically impossible without a massive conspiracy involving dozens of people. He also pointed to the most undeniable evidence of all, the severity of Paul's injuries. The double jaw fracture that required immediate surgery, titanium plates, and the removal of teeth is not something that can be faked or staged. As Hearn bluntly put it, no fighter would agree to have his jaw broken in 2 places and undergo surgery just to sell a narrative. The medical records, the operation, and the recovery process all confirm that what happened in that ring was a legitimate fight between 2 professionals, and one that ended in a devastating, very real knockout that may have permanently altered Jake Paul.